Be like an ant. If you know about the story of the ant, they are always prepared. During the summertime, they're gathering food against winter. During winter, they're gathering food against summer. So there is no way that you can catch an ant off guard without them being prepared for whatever is coming. Hello ladies, hello gents. Thank you for being here today. My name is Murielskinder and you know I do not take your presence here for granted. Onto this video, we are going to be talking about the money habits that kept me poor, and I think these are the same money habits that are keeping most people poor. There is a saying that you may come from a poor background, right? But that's not your fault. However, if you die poor, then that's on you. And how can you take away yourself from poverty if you do not recognize the habits that are actually keeping you in that state? Before we leave here today, you will be able to recognize your poor money habits and get the tools to break free from them. The number one habit is not knowing how to use credit cards. If you live in the Western world, especially the United States, you know how tempting credit cards can be. Each time you open up your mail, there's an invitation to apply for a credit card. And if you're someone who does not have that restraint, if you're the kind of person that just think that you can take and take and take and take without actually strategizing or setting up a strategy on how you will use them or how you will pay them back, then you fall into debt. The average interest rate for credit cards in the United States is 22%. That is to say, for every dollar you spend, you're paying back 22 cents on top of that dollar. Say, for example, you spend $500 on something that you did not even need. You end up paying $660. Therefore, the bank has taken $160 from you without you even realizing. In order to break free from your bad money habits, you need to be able to know how to use credit cards and don't let the credit cards use you. A couple years ago, I used to work for a bank, and because I was an employee of that institution, I was lucky enough to get a credit card, a cashback credit card. What do I mean by cashback? It's a credit card that each time you use, you get a percentage back. So you could get groceries and you get 2% back. You could get gas and you get 3% back. So they had this card where it is 3 to 1. So you can get up to 3% back depending on your purchase. This cash that I get back from the card, every month, at the end of the billing cycle, you get this cash back depending on how much you put on that card. So the more you spend, the more you use your credit card, the more cash back you get. But someone who has a poor money habit is just going to keep swiping and swiping and swiping without knowing where the money is going to come from to pay back this credit card. And that is how the banks get you, and that's how you lose a lot of money. But because I know how to use credit cards, what I do is I swipe the credit card. Anything that I put on my credit card, I know that I have the cash to cover. That way I can be able to get cashbacks without paying any interest. And that is how I've been able to pay for Christmas gifts, because every money that I spend on that card, at the end of the year, I collect the cash back and I'm able to buy Christmas gifts for my family. That way I am using the bank and the bank is not using me. So you have to be smart when using credit cards, because it is a given. You will need credit cards in the United States because you need to be able to build your credit. If you're somebody who is just starting out, the easiest way to build your credit is by using a credit card. Never, ever pay the minimum balance on a credit card. Always pay the full balance. That is why it is very important for you to make sure that before you swipe that card, know that you have the cash to cover it, so that you're using the bank and the bank is not using you. The next money habit keeping you poor is paying yourself last. Most people, especially the people who are in the middle class and the poor people, they have the mindset of always paying themselves last. In this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, he said, both dads paid their bills on time, yet one paid his bill first while the other paid his bills last. The way people pay their bills is in two ways. The poor people believe in paying themselves after everything has been done. Therefore, when they get their check, they pay the light bills, they pay the mortgage, they pay for food, they pay for their leisure, they pay for social gatherings, and then they save whatever is left. But the people with a good money habit, what they do is when they receive their check, they pay themselves first. What do I mean by that? To take a percentage of their money. Say, for example, they take 10% of what they've made and then they put it into a savings. After that, then they can pay their bills and they can pay their whatever they need to do to sustain their life until the next check. Then whatever is left, that is what they can use for leisure. So they make sure that they always have something stashed away. That way, in case of an emergency or something pops up, they always have something saved. In order for you to get a good money habit, always make sure that no matter what happens, you may say, no, I live paycheck to paycheck and I'm not able to save. Yes, you are able to save. Because when you've taken out that 10% or that 20% out of your check and put it somewhere else that you know for a fact that you cannot touch, your mind is going to look for ways to make more money. That way you can be able to sustain your life. Because if you don't put the money aside, then you always think that you have money. And then you become so comfortable that you don't look for other ways to increase your earning power. If the government can take money out of your check in the form of taxes, then you can pay yourself first. Because before that money even hits your account, they have already taken what they need to take out of your check. For example, your earning power is in a certain bracket. They take about 30% of what you make. So if they take 30% of what you make, you should be able to save at least 10% of what you've made. The next point, know where your money goes. Many people, if you ask them how to spend the last check that they got, they won't be able to tell you because they don't have an accountability. They don't have anything to show where the money went to, because they have spent this money recklessly without even having something to show that this is what I spend the money on, this is what I spend the money on. So they don't have any spreadsheet, they don't have anything that they are using to know how they are segmenting their money. That way it can take them further. The word accounting comes from accountability. If you're going to be rich, if you're going to live a comfortable life, you need to be accountable for your money. There are lessons that we can take from an ant to make sure that we don't find ourselves in a situation where we are scratching the surface just to feed. Success is solely dependent on the actions that you take to achieve it. Building wealth involves developing good personal and money habits. Because sometimes when we see people who are wealthy, when we see rich people, we get this entitlement mentality and we feel like because this person is wealthy, then they are responsible for the people who are not. Because this person is wealthy, then they are responsible for the people who are needy. But that is not the case. Because these people, before they were able to attain that wealth, they have failed over and over and over and over again. And most of us, we don't want to fail. And because we do not want to fail, we do not succeed. And because we do not want to take the actions that are required for us to be successful, we do not become successful. Then we are looking at all these other people. These people have spent their time, they have spent their money, they have spent resources, they have shed tears, they have shed blood just to be able to get where they are. So they are not responsible for you and I. You and I were responsible for ourselves. Have the mindset that when somebody does something for you, that's a plus. Don't think that they have to, because no, they do not. Everything that anybody does for you, it is out of the kindness of their hearts. If you have that mindset, if you have that mentality, then there is no way that you will lead on life with bitterness because you feel like someone is supposed to do something for you that they have not done. The next money habit that keeps you poor is spending more. Most people have the tendency of spending as they make, or even spending more than they make. You have to learn to spend below your means. Say, for example, you're making 20K, and then you find an additional side hustle or maybe another job or a raise from work that gives you an extra 10K. The fact that you're earning more doesn't mean that you spend more, because that is how you stay at the same place or even go backwards. In order for you to have good money habits, this extra 10K that you're making, you're already surviving on 20K. So yes, you can survive on 20K. So this extra money that you're making, you have to set it aside. You have to save it. That way it can be used for something else like investments. If you're just spending as you're making, then there may come a time that you will not be able to make. Then what happens to you? You may lose your home, you may lose your car, you may lose even the ability to feed. So it is paramount that the more you make, the more you save. Have some form of a spreadsheet where you put your income and your expenses. That way you're able to tell how much is coming in and how much is going out and what is left behind. Find a time, weekly or monthly or bi-weekly, to make sure that you know how much you've spent and how much has come in. That way you're always on track, you're always accountable for your money. Next point is saving with no purpose. Yes, saving is good, it is fantastic, but you cannot save without any purpose, because in the economy that we are in today, there is inflation. Even my 4-year-old knows about inflation. A couple of weeks ago, my husband and I, we took our kids out for brunch, and while the waiter was asking, okay, what are you gonna eat, what are you gonna eat, what are you gonna eat, when it was my daughter's turn, I asked, Mama, what are you gonna eat? She said, nothing. And I was like, you're in a restaurant and you don't want to eat anything? She said, Mommy, inflation. That cracked us up like crazy. I did not even know that this girl, she's 4 years old and she knows about inflation. If she knows about inflation, then you and I, we need to know about inflation. So it is very important that whatever money that you're saving, make sure that you have a purpose for it, for investment, to put it somewhere that the money is going to work for you. Because before you can become wealthy, your money has to work for you. You need to look for a way that your money is going to work for you, because you cannot keep exchanging your time for money that will never ever make you wealthy, if that's your plan. The money that you kept in your account 10 years ago, 5 years ago, or even 6 months ago doesn't have the same value today. So the more you keep in your savings account, if you keep that money there for so long, it's going to lose its value, and then what you could buy with the money when you started saving it is not the same thing that you're going to be able to buy today. So make sure that you get investments, that way your money can grow, and that, my friend, is a good money habit. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell, that way you know when we have new uploads, and make sure that you watch this other video that's coming up. Take care and stay blessed. Bye.